Our next guest is Ms. Alice Duer Miller, a famed and wonderful poet. The poet laureate of the suffrage movement. Please welcome Alice Duer Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was bully. Hello. Recently, I heard the speech of Mr. Webb of North Carolina, in which he announced that he is opposed to women's suffrage, though he is not opposed to women. What can we say in response? Oh, women, have you heard the news of charity and grace? Look, look how joy and gratitude are beaming in my face, for Mr. Webb is not opposed to woman in her place. Oh, Mr. Webb, how kind you are to let us live at all, to let us light the kitchen range and tidy up the hall, to tolerate the female sex in spite of Adam's fall. But girls, suppose that Mr. Webb should alter his decree. Suppose he were opposed to us, opposed to you and me. What would be left for us to do, except to cease to be? Of course, we can be grateful that not all men share Mr. Webb's viewpoints. There are those men who are not opposed to women or women's suffrage, though they might impose certain conditions. If you have beauty, charm, refinement, tact, if you can prove that, should I set you free, you would not contemplate the smallest act that might annoy or interfere with me, if you can show that women will abide by the best standards of their womanhood, and I must be the person to decide what in a woman is the highest good, if you display efficiency supreme in philanthropic work, devoid of pay, if you can show a clearly thought out scheme for bringing the millennium in a day, why then, dear lady, at some time remote, I might consider giving you the vote. Oh, yes. Even those men who will admit their weaknesses, though understanding women is never something they will admit. I don't pretend I'm clever, he remarked, or very wise. At this she murmured quietly, really, with the right polite surprise. But women, he continued, I must own, I understand. Women are a contradiction, honorable and underhand. Constant as the star Polaris, yet as changeable as fate, always flying what they long for, always seeking what they hate. Don't you think, began the lady, but he cut her short. I see that you take it personally. Women always do, said he. You will pardon me for saying every woman is the same. Always greedy for approval, always sensitive to blame. Sweet and passionate are women, weak in mind, though strong in soul. Even you admit, I fancy, that they have no self-control. No, I don't admit they haven't, said the patient lady then, or they could not sit and listen to the nonsense talked by men. Perhaps some of you are familiar with the poetry of Mr. Rudyard Kipling, who has written a verse he entitled "The Female of the Species." I, too, have written a few lines on this subject, but I like to call the female of the species woman. I went to ask my government if they would set me free. They gave a pardoned crook the vote, but hadn't one for me. The men about me laughed and frowned and said, "Go home, because we really can't be bothered when we're busy making laws. Oh, it's women this and women that, and women have no sense. But it's pay your taxes promptly when it comes to the expense." It comes to the expense, my dears. It comes to the expense. It's pay your taxes promptly when it comes to the expense. I went into a factory to earn my daily bread. Men said, "The home is women's sphere." I have no home, I said. But when the men all marched to war, they cried to wife and maid, "Oh, never mind about the home, but save the export trade." For it's women this and women that, and home's the place for you. But it's patriotic angels when there's outside work to do. There's outside work to do, my dears. There's outside work to do. And it's patriotic angels when there's outside work to do. We are not really senseless, and we are not angels too, but very human beings, human just as much as you. It's hard upon occasions to be forceful and sublime when you're treated as incompetence 3/4 of the time. But it's women this and women that, and woman's like a hen. And it's do the country's work alone when war takes off the men. It's women this and women that, and everything you please. But woman is observant. And be sure that woman sees.